Hello, everybody. Welcome into Tiger Talks Wrestling. I'm your host, Tony, joined, of course, by my co-host, John and Eddie.
How's it going?
Here today. How you guys doing?
Good. 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 I don't know what to say. Yeah, good.
We good? We got a bit to talk about that just took place, of course, WrestleMania weekend. We'll jump right into the place. Actually, before we get into that, we didn't really we talked about what happened at it. So, is there anything you guys want to go over from the Hall of Fame ceremony from this past Friday night first, before I jump into this delivery?
Seeing Lex Luger standing up and not have to be in that wheelchair was one of the greatest moments of that part.
I agree.
The other part, not seeing Tugboat, Fred, or Typhoon, coming out in his Shockmaster gimmick. I mean, excellent choice. And can we all say maybe we felt like the Immortal statue should have been a little better than combined faces look like something out of the fucking Predator?
Agreed, 100%
Right.
on that one.
I'm not talking
sure.
about the Predator movies from now. I'm talking about the ones from the fucking 80s with Arnold and Jesse Ventura and Danny Glover. I'm like, who the fuck made this? Was it was it Gary Busey? That was the ugliest fucking statue I ever saw.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I honestly, even the Triple H statue, I felt like was off compared to the statues that they usually make. I don't know if you guys got that. They made it on the pre-show, but
oh, the one with the wax one was even worse.
Yeah.
So there was 3 moments that I enjoyed from the Triple H's speech. I'm gonna get crap for the first one, but it needs to be brought up. And when he mentioned Vince, and he kept it professional and didn't go deeper than it should have been. He thanked Vince for everything and kept it nice and sweet, which, just with everything going on, to mention Vince, huge kudos. Number 2, the fact that he also, because his whole heart issue and all that, and then his sister, how he brought that and made it more relevant. But number 3, my favorite part, I got 2 words for you. Everyone screams "suck it." I was going to say thank you, but okay. I'm sorry. That's how you close off a Hall of Fame speech right there. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a pretty good speech. Like I said, I felt he did have a lot to be thankful for, I suppose. So.
True that, at least it wasn't Jim Cornette.
Right. So, and when he, the Michelle McCool induction one, I never knew she had the health issues that she mentioned, though, over the last every years, the kidneys or whatever, all issues that she had. She kept that really private because it was nowhere on social media or anything. And I'd never heard of it until then. I almost thought, seeing that she'd had a rough day or two before the Hall of Fame, I thought she was going to say that something bad was, health-wise, was going on with her. Glad it wasn't, but that's almost what I was expecting when she revealed that. And who knows, we could at some point see a label reunion in WWE. Well, she did tease it. Layla has teased it on social media after that.
I'd be cool with that, even though I'm not a big fan of Layla, but it's nostalgia, so that's awesome.
Well, speaking of nostalgia, there's another former women's tag to be coming back too. So Hall of Famers, and of course, being the Bella Twins, Ian Bree. I'd say it was a pretty decent Hall of Fame ceremony for the most. Wish Lex would have talked a little bit about his career and some of the people that wrestled, like Sting. I know for some reason WWE didn't want Sting brought up, it seems like. Considering Ari Khan had a lot to do with Sting not being led. He didn't want nothing to do with Sting for the most part. So Sting was never involved in the talks for the Hall of Fame. Tony Khan never got a phone call or anything from WWE about it. So we were a little pissed off at Tony Khan thinking it was all him, but it sounds like it was Nick Khan that didn't want anything to do with Sting being a part of the Hall of Fame with Lex.
Well, speaking of Nick Khan, it was amazing to see that guy actually smile for once.
Yeah, you don't usually see him smile. It didn't last long though either.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Earthquake's family out there with him. I was surprised Typhoon didn't go a little bit more into his career instead of just a very tiny bit about natural disasters too. But there, I felt like
what would you?
Didn't want to relive Shockmaster.
I mean, what would you?
What would like those first four kind of?
What would you talk about? Him just falling down and the match coming off his face?
Yeah.
I mean,
be brought up about it. It's from the history of WCW, really. So we're forgetting because that was 1, 2, 3, 4. We didn't say nothing about one of them. Who was the other one? Drawing a blank. Triple H, Michelle McCool, Manchesters, Luger. Oh, and Brett and Austin. You mentioned the way.
Yeah.
That whole induction, Austin, it just see the match go in, but I don't know, their speech kind of was a little off. I felt like in a way, like mention how much the match helped each other, but still felt like there could have been something more there.
I have a question on the nominees. I mean, not nominees, the people that got inducted for the Legacy Award or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Kamala the same guy that was Bad News Brown?
No.
Because they look so much alike.
No. Bad News Brown came from Stu Hart's Calgary Stampede. Okay. He came from there, and it was Bad News. It was not Bad News Brown, but it was a different name that he had in Bret Hart's dad's organization. Kamala came from the, I'm not sure if it's the NWA or the AWA. It's one of them group, or Georgia Chimp. He was all over the place in the 80s. He even went to WCCW when the Von Erichs had their stuff too. So he was there as well. But different guy.
I never realized until they were showing the video package for him that he had a match and a rivalry with Hulk Hogan back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, him and Hogan had some... Hell, they had some matches at Madison Square Garden, too. I mean, we already know the immortal shithead was going to win anyway, so, you know, what you got to do? Yeah, I mean, it's just what it is.
That is right. They had nice little video packages for all three of the Legacy Awards. So
And there was some familiar faces in the crowd, you know. It was good to see the faces of Fear, the Barbarian, and the Warlord there right next to Axe and Smash. You know, it's nice to see the Warlord and the Barbarian back in the WWE.
Because I didn't realize that those four were there. I didn't notice them.
Yeah. If you look, you're gonna see the Warlord. You're gonna see the Warlord falling asleep.
Oh, you mean like Booker did during Triple H's speech?
Yeah, I know.
He claims he didn't, but I will agree with John though, when Triple H brought up how it's the same thing health-wise that Triple H has gone to bring that up. Mention all of his family that was there, his kids, his wife. It was nice seeing Linda there, for that matter.
Oh yeah.
Made me curious though, why Shane wasn't there? What Hall of Fame? Because it sounded like Triple H wanted him there.
Shane does what Shane wants, you know.
It was a holiday weekend, so perhaps his wife had already made plans to be with her side of the family. Who knows? That weekend. I also how Triple H mentioned Mick Foley and how much Foley meant to his career as well. Because if it wasn't for Mick Foley, Triple H might not have ever been as big as he was. I mean, Mick was the one that took the pinfall for Triple H to win his first WWE championship. So,
I also, speaking of the whole Triple H speech about how when he like first came into the company and was gonna just start driving by himself because no one really liked talking business, and the story of how the clique came together and how he saved X-Pac's life, you know, from the freaking shake.
yeah. And then Scott Hall, the waiter and the cook, and Scott almost
Hey, bad guys never die.
killed himself, huh?
I mean, let's just say this: Triple H saved a lot of X-Pac and Scott Hall through the years that they were together. I mean, them guys were heavy druggies, man. But you know, Scott sort of got better for a while. I mean, Sean Waltman looks excellent than he did in the past. He looks really good.
Isn't he
You
like
know,
almost
like,
60 too?
no, Sean Waltman's, I think he's in his 50s.
I don't know, but isn't he like almost 60?
I'm not really sure.
Hold on, I'll find out.
I know he started when he was, what, 19 in the WWE? 19, 20?
I think he was 19, yeah. He is 52. He'll be 53 in July. But yeah. But it was nice that he mentioned Hall and Nash, and Nash kind of talked him into joining the clique, really. And joining Rival, anyways. So, a good spot there. Although, I did see that there's talks of doing the Hall of Fame different now because it was on way too late this year. For those of us that stayed up and watched it, or were up and watched it, I stayed up and watched it. I didn't expect Triple H's to go over an hour, so I went to work on like 3 hours of sleep the next morning. That was fun. But hopefully they'll change it to a different day or something, because it needs to be. Personally, I'd rather see it happen Thursday before WrestleMania, because there's nothing going on Thursdays really anyway.
Yeah, or just have it in the same venue, not across town. Then you could just have go right from SmackDown, quick setup, and go into the Hall of Fame like they've done in years past. You still wouldn't be waiting until midnight, 1 o'clock to start. You'd probably 11:30, 11:45.
But I never like that. Yeah. I didn't like so. And now it's even worse to stay at 3 hours during WrestleMania season.
Or they could have Stand and Deliver on Sunday and then do Hall of Fame that afternoon before Mania starts.
Yeah, that would work too. Or they could even do the Hall of Fame the Sunday before Mania, for that matter. Put the Slammies on their time. Alright. Let's talk a little bit about Stand and Deliver here from Saturday afternoon. I'm going to go over the results real quick, then we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about from the show. We won't individually if we don't want to. Ricky Saints retained the North American title over Ethan Page. Hank and Tank walked out match to win the North American title. Dark State beat the D'Angelo family. We will talk a little bit about that match. Stephanie Vaquer, of course, retained the women's championship in Jada Parker. And Alma Femi walked out, still NXT champion in the triple threat match. The reason I mentioned the 6-man tag match we got to talk a little bit about is because of the way the match came to an end. I think we were expecting something to happen, but I would listen. It didn't happen exactly the way I thought it was. I was expecting instead of just doing a low blow to Tony D'Angelo at the end of that match.
Yeah, I already knew when we saw it before Mania that Stacks was going to turn. I mean, it was inevitable, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, it was going to happen. Yeah, I thought he was going to use a crowbar, but you know what? Blood on your hands. So you got to do what you got to do. I like this past week on NXT when they did almost like the casino way, hey, they're in Vegas.
Right.
What better way to do the casino way, make a deal in the desert before we bury you. The match was okay because you got two guys that are. You got Dark State that is learning their cracks up in the. I call it the semi-main roster. They are great, talented, but they're going to get better. They're going to get better by a couple more matches under their belt. So yeah, I give it a 10. I feel like the family is going to eventually turn on Tony D, and Tony D's going up to the main roster maybe around draft time.
Which could potentially be last year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Before we go into much, kind of on YouTube, Little GB says Night 2 was better, but Night 1 better main event for WrestleMania. We'll dive into that, but yes, I fully agree with that comment.
Yeah, I would too.
For you guys, really stood out when it came to Stand and Deliver. Big things that happened. I mean, like I said, Hank and Tank were the first ones to win some gold as they took them off of Fraxium, which is kind of surprising in a way, even though I think pretty much all picked Hank and Tank to win, or some of us did. But I mentioned it, I think prediction show, it's hard to bet against Fraxium because pretty much they would lose, or they would take the tag team titles. But this time around, we actually got it right, and Hank and Tank walked out as champions. Do you think that was the right call, or do you take the titles off of Fraxium?
So before this all went down, I would have said this was the wrong decision. But this story they've put together with Hank and Tank, coming from like underdogs who couldn't do anything right to running a gauntlet, being that first team to really take care of Fraxium. No one expected it, so it was like the perfect underdog story gone full circle.
I just gotta say, it's good to see the Public Enemy's sons really earning that tag team championship match, and winning that title at Stand and Deliver. Do I like the call of Hank and Tank winning? No, but I understand why they did it, because how long can you keep the titles on Nathan Frazier and XCM when you know they're going to be going up to the main roster? I mean, they did everything. They beat everybody. Do I wish it was somebody else? Yes, but
sure.
You had to take the titles off, and what do? You go for the hottest, for the team that's getting the most cheers, and which is Hank and Tank, and congratulations to them, but it's not going to be a long title reign. Let's just say this: they're going to lose it eventually, but maybe this coming Tuesday to the ones that got the tag team title shot this coming Tuesday. Who knows?
We'll see. How about that ladder match for the? What do you guys think of that match?
It was a good match, but I still got the wrong pick, so screw it.
Hey, like I said, I was like I said, going into that match was really hard to pick who was going to win it, because you have all them talented ladies that work their ass off in NXT. Sol Ruka deserves it. She's been working hard. Gotta say, I think she did a wonderful job of winning that title. And I want to see more from her. The match was good for a North American title match. I always like when they add that to it, but yeah, it was a good match, and I really enjoyed it.
So you guys won't necessarily, but to me, that wasn't all that great of a ladder match. Personally, there's only one spot out in that match to me. And that was the double. Right at the end, pretty much of the match. There was a couple other for a ladder match on WrestleMania weekend, and we've seen a lot of them, especially even in NXT with the North American title involved. This just wasn't up to par, in my opinion. They did all right, but it fell flat to me. I didn't think it was as good as what you would expect for this situation. And I agree.
Just don't think the right person won.
Yeah, maybe that's part of.
No, I mean,
I picked Zarya. I feel like Zarya needed it, but she'll get it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Sol Ruka is one hell of a talent and deserves more than just a North American title. But you just gave her the speed title, and then so no one's gonna think that she is gonna win this, and then it's a swerve when she's the one to climb the ladder and take the title, when it should have been. I mean, there's other good storylines. I understand Lola Vice most likely going up to the main roster. We're not going to give it to her. Thea Hale would have made sense.
Right.
I'm not just saying it because I picked her, but you had her return that week, that NXT before, and then have her complete that by winning the title would have been an amazing story. Zarya, then you could have that huge feud, like say Solo's about to win and Zarya power bombs her off and wins the match. I'd be okay with that. We don't need a two-time NXT North America winner, so I understand why Kalani didn't get it. And then what's Izzy done lately? I even forgot she was on the roster still.
Well, she's been dating Braun Breaker, so that's the only thing that's good.
That's true. I was glad to see Ricky. The match was all right for the men's North American, but I still feel like I did with that match as well. That brings us only matches that we haven't really talked anything about yet. The Women's Fatal 4-Way match title. That match to me, I think I would easily say like the standout match, the best match on the Stand and Deliver card, in my opinion.
You're absolutely right. Damn, I mean, you got a juggernaut that is just big, who has just got to WWE, but man, we know her resume.
Yep.
Stephanie Vaquero, she's good. Julia. But the one that really made me feel good, and I know she didn't win, you got to give it up for Jada Parker, man. That girl works her ass off. And, she's going to get there, get to that next level. It's good to see her by herself and not with Crime Time, so, and all that. But do I feel like Stephanie was the one that should have won it? Yeah. I mean, Julia had her peak of a moment if she didn't get injured and something to do with her visa, so she couldn't. Got to get that fixed. We're just seeing the peak of the juggernaut. We know she's going to win gold in WWE. I'm not worried about her falling back because she's a former TNA star. So, yeah, I enjoyed the match.
Let me ask you a question, boys. So,
yes,
what do a juggernaut, a badass bitch from LSU, and a beautiful nightmare all have in common?
They all lost.
They all got their asses spinal tapped by the baddest bitch in the world right now. I mean, that pretty much says everything right there. The right person won, and we're good right there.
Well, I said it as we're watching NXT last night, and I'll say it again, I think at one point, and I'll say it again. We still got more. Obviously, Jordan's still a part of that too. So. Another comment in the chat section, but yeah, you deserve that win. She had to fight for it.
Oh, for the love of God.
So we got. Fortnite guy in the chat says, "Love your YouTube channel. I'm excited."
What?
Did he freeze up?
I think so. I don't even know what he said.
I don't know either. Only thing I heard was Love you, YouTube. I'm so excited to see what you do with heel
That's the
Cena.
problem. You won't be able to see it. You can't see him.
Nope, he can't. I mean, he couldn't even see an RKO.
So what are we on? The heavyweight title match now? For NXT?
I think we are, yeah.
The first thing we got to say about the match is what a freaking amazing showing of the bounciest guy in the room, because your boy is bouncy. Javon Evans, hell of a showing.
You know what? You're absolutely right, man. That kid is a talent, and he's gonna go places. I mean, that's why I picked him, because I'm like, this kid had 2 world title shots. You know, the first one was against Ethan Page and what the
Oh
hell's
yeah,
his name? Yeah, I mean, the kid is fucking talent. He is gonna go places. I give him a lot of props. You know, Oba is Oba. I mean, and Trick is, I don't know what they're doing him. I know he's going up to the main roster eventually, but yeah, it was a good match by 3 guys. I mean, I give him a lot of props, man. They put on a show.
agreed, 100%. I mean, and there was no dull points in it. It was straight balls to the walls, pedals down to the metal. It was just an amazing, energetic match, and for that to be no offense to the woman, because the woman put on a hell of a match, and they had the most outstanding match, but that main event has been probably one of the best NXT main events I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
Well, I'm back. That's a good thing. We'll see. There it goes. I got what you guys are saying. You're right. It was a pretty good triple threat match. Javon Evans was definitely the standout in that match. It didn't look like it was going to be that way when the match first started, and Trick and Oba both kind of teamed up on Javon to get rid of him a couple times. But and will be a future NXT champion, like Oba mentioned on NXT this past Tuesday night, at some point in time. The question for me is, where do you think they're going with the whole Trick Williams character right now? He didn't get pinned or in the triple threat match, but he kind of still, if you will, last night at NXT. Are we getting Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry at some point? Is he going to get his one-on-one match he wants? Is he getting called up? What do you think is going to happen with Trick Williams?
So I'm gonna spoil stuff with what I want to say, so I'm just gonna say it. We all know there's gonna be a faction coming, and I feel like putting Trick making Trick a part of that faction would be probably one of the smarter moves. Because no offense, he's a great singles wrestler, but some of his best work was back when him and Mello were together. And I think you put him with the other 2 people that are already there. I think it's going to be a breakout season for that boy.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Oh.
Go ahead, Eddie.
I agree. I feel like you gotta. Do you want to put him up that soon? I know he's ready to go up to the main roster, but do you want? I would love to see him and Joe Henry go at it. He can get that any time before the draft, whenever that is. Um, do we want to see another match with Oba? Yeah, but do you just want to dwell on one more match? Because Oba is just gonna start it as champ. Do you want to give it to somebody else? And Trick don't need the NXT title anymore. He is already a two-time NXT champion, and I feel like something needs to change, and I feel like he don't need that. But put him with Joe Henry, see what he does, and I think it'll be a good match, and maybe it will be for the TNA World Title if he retains it. This coming weekend.
Could you
Right.
imagine you put those two together as a tag team, the chant, believe that whoop, believe that whoop.
Yeah, they've been a team before. They teamed up last year.
Mm.
Yeah, that was back
Joke,
when
but
Ethan
still,
Page was
good match.
the best champion ever.
That lasted a long time. Thing is, for me, Trick was supposed to be the main guy in NXT. They've said ever since the draft last year. And at points, you kind of could see it that way. But honestly, in the long run, in this last year, I don't feel like Trick's really been that top guy, like is what it sounded like he was supposed to be. I mean, with the Ethan Pages, with the Ricky Saints coming in, with Topa Femi getting the title, it just hasn't felt like it's just about Trick like they claimed it's mainly supposed to be, which could be a good thing. It has been nice to see new layers. Want to see more of it. We've seen people get drafted in the draft and still show up in NXT to finish storylines? Could we see Trick get that one-on-one match with Olafemi at Battleground next month, even if the draft happens before then? That's kind of what I'm thinking might happen, but we'll see where things turn out. They all had those Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans all had good spots in the main event, anyways, for the NXT Championship. So all in all, what would you guys say Stand and Deliver was for you? If you wanted to rate it, or any last things to say about it before we move on. Okay.
8.5 out of 10.
John's like,
I give it a 7 out of 10.
7.5, 8 out of 10. So we've seen better Stand and Deliver shows, I feel like, but there were certain things that were helpful to read up a little bit. I downgraded it. That brings us to Saturday night and to WrestleMania 41. Again, I'll go over the quick results. And yes, John, we'll get into the fact and all that eventually. But
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
We've seen Jey Uso, of course, on Saturday walk out the new World Heavyweight Champion. We'll talk a little bit about that, how he got it in a little bit. New Day won the World Tag titles. Jade beat Naomi. Jacob Fatu walked out U.S. champ. Grande Americano beat Rey Fenix, which we'll talk some about that. Tiffany Stratton managed to beat Charlotte Flair to retain the women's title. And, of course, in the main event, Seth freaking Rollins walked out the winner of the triple threat. So, I think we start with that first match. Main event, Jey Uso and the Ring General, Gunther. A really good way to kick off WrestleMania. We've seen things out of Jey Uso that we've never seen before. I mean, not just the fact that he stole Gunther's moveset for some of it, including how he won the match, but this, I feel like, was the best singles match in Jey Uso to date. Close to it, if not.
Okay, I give you part of that. Jey Uso
Unless his opponent's name's Roman Reigns.
There you go. That's the ones I was saying. His matches against his cousin were some good matches. His match against Gunther, it was good, but I felt like it got rushed towards the end of it. If you're the ring general, you tap out that fast, like you're supposed to be this guy that's supposed to break out of things. I just felt like it was a rush match. We all knew Jey was going to win the title, Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, whatever time it was over there. It felt rushed.
The ending of that match.
The
ending of that match was so terrible. It made it feel like a mid-card match. It did not feel like an opener. It was, like Eddie was saying, it was rushed and so sloppy. The beginning, beautiful. The middle, beautiful. You get to that last small part of it, it was like they got the thing like, oh, we're it's gone longer than it should have. We need to wrap it up. Why else would you see Gunther, the big bad submission man himself, tap out in 2.5 seconds to his own move? That wasn't even, I mean, I guess it was locked in pretty good, but still, it makes no sense.
At least he got a celebration with Jimmy afterwards, too.
I thought Jimmy was going to super kick his head off.
John's right. John's right. It's like the build-up, just the build-up to this match, it felt rushed. Everything felt rushed to this build-up to this match. And the man won the Royal Rumble. At least he didn't get a Bailey moment. That he wasn't even on the damn poster. Everything was rushed, and I feel like they could have gave them more time. Hell, you had 5 hours. You had more time to make this match look perfect. I feel like I love Jey, and I love the way Gunther worked. It felt like his match with his brother last year. Just too much clunkiness at the end. And, congratulations to Jey. He's the world champion, but it just got rushed. And I don't like seeing that with two guys that are workhorses.
And not only is Jey a world champion, he is the fourth from the family to become a world champion.
Yeah, Yoko, Rock,
Roman,
and now
he did something his daddy couldn't even do.
Nope.
I mean, no offense to Rikishi. I mean, no offense at all, because that was another hell of an athlete. But truth hurts sometimes.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Definitely congrats to Jey on winning it. The big one anyway. Move on from there. I'm not going to have much to say about this. I talked at length about it in the prediction show. New Day cheats their way into winning another World Tag Team title. No Big E involved in it whatsoever. Last thing I'll say about this, There was no reason to have this match on there instead of putting the WWE Tag Team Championship TLC match on there. It should have been the other way around.
So, I was at some work friends from work. We were at their house watching night one, and he went to the bathroom because it's gonna be. I figured tag team match gonna be long. You got two great tag teams. Gonna be a long match. He comes out of the bathroom and hears New Day's song, and his reaction is, "New Day fucking won without Big E showing up. This is bullshit." And I couldn't agree more with that. It was like you said, Tony. It should have been on a weekly show on Monday Night Raw. There was no point putting in there if there was not going to be an appearance from Big E or something along those standards. And the fact that you had another match where the ending was rushed, and it's like you're starting off the biggest show of the year with two rushed endings when you have multiple hours left that you can build on. It wasn't a good start to WrestleMania of the main card weekend per se.
Agreed.
Let me say this. You could have had the tag team championship match between the Guns and the Street Profits in their place, because that match was way better with four talented guys. And I know how John feels about the Machine Guns. They should have had their first WrestleMania moment.
Damn right they should have.
No offense to
They should have.
No offense to the New Day. They've been there before. They've been there for 10 years, being a team. That match was garbage. Without Big E, it was just a plain. I love to see Eric and Ivar do their spots like they do for big men, like a Bam Bam Bigelow way and a Vader. But for God's sakes, it could have been way better if you put the guns and Street Profits in there. That's my opinion.
Hell, it would have been a better match if it was Pretty Deadly versus Fraxium. It's more of an insult towards Pretty Deadly, not Fraxium, because Fraxium can do some shit.
Yeah.
My thing is, we just seen that match between the New Day and the War Raiders 2 weeks prior on Monday Night Raw. Yes, he didn't get a finish to it, but this match was built off of 2 weeks, whereas the tag team division, like I said in our prediction show for the SmackDown side, has been red hot for months, going back December pretty much, ever since the Machine Gun debuted in WWE. And that treated this way, great, they're getting a TLC match between three of their top teams this upcoming Friday down, but treat that tag team division that's been red hot over the lame ass Raw tag team division that we didn't need to see the New Day win another tag team title. They already got the record.
Well, I see why, because they need to prove that they could win a title without Big E. So I see why they did it, but that could have waited till like SummerSlam or something. They didn't have to rush it right then, unless there was a big return or something.
Right.
They could have did
nothing.
They could have did it this past Monday on the Raw after WrestleMania.
Exactly. So move on past that. Naomi in that singles match. It wasn't the greatest singles match we've seen, but Jade still, you can tell, learning the ropes, so as to speak, for some of the stuff. I will say there was some good spots for both ladies in the match. But one of the moves at the end there, I can't remember exactly what she did now, but it almost looked like Jade knocked Naomi out before she hit the Jaded. It was clunky, to say the least, in some spots. But imagine, okay, so I say that, but But imagine how much worse it would have been if Jade's original opponent would have been her opponent at WrestleMania. Because originally, it was supposed to be Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax. So I'll put that out there.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that because I wouldn't want to see that anyways.
I know, but if you look at the board, the idea board that they posted for the upcoming WWE on whatever it's called that's coming to Netflix, that was the match that was penciled in for WrestleMania, was Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax.
I feel like it was staged. That's not the real board.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it is.
Okay, so this match made history. It was the first one-on-one women's match with no title on the line.
Yep.
And with the expectations you're expecting for something like that, I don't feel these were the two women that you wanted in that match. Like you said, Jade still shows that she's green. And I felt like Naomi had to help carry that match, like 75% of it at least. No offense to Cargill, because Jade Cargill has the potential, if she gets her crap together, to be a big star for the company. And yes, I know you don't like hearing that, Tony. I know how you feel from the AEW days. But anyways, I felt
you're right.
that that it was an okay match. It should have been a lot more. And of course, with the limitations for Jay not being fully ready for something like this, held that back. So with that in mind, I wish they would have had two different people in this kind of match, just so you could have that historic, like was the first match, and it set that bar. I mean, this match set a bar, but a lot lower than what you would expect.
True.
My opinion, I think Jade Cargill, and I love the way she looks. She's $1,000,000. She needs to go to NXT and learn more from them. She's not ready to be up in that main roster. She's only up there. You cannot have Bianca. You can't have Naomi. You can't even have the referee and the outside official guys that are teaching her what to do on the job. It ain't gonna work. Fans are gonna watch it and say, does she really want this? Because she got spoon-fed in AEW. She was the next Bill Goldberg in AEW. She comes to WWE. She's not the Bill Goldberg of that group. She is the Gilbert of that group. She needs more work.
You're right.
I love her. I love her physique. I love her physique. I think she's going to be great. But if I was going to change that match, I would have put Alexa Bliss and Roxanne Perez to build off of that Elimination Chamber match that they had, that she got eliminated from her. I think that would have been a good situation to do it. I feel like Jade's there, but not fully there, and it's going to hurt her in the long run.
So to piggyback after seeing Roxanne Perez and Bayley be the first women's match without a title online at WrestleMania, like at one point it was rumored Bliss, but Bayley, I can go on a tangent on that one on its own, but Bayley deserves so much better than what she got WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that for the moment. So that brings us about halfway through WrestleMania Saturday, and it brings us to, up to that point, the best match of the night. Jacob Fatu and LA Knight for the United States Championship. These two guys, you would never know watching this match, I feel like, that these two guys have never had a one-on-one match against each other.
Okay, the first thing needs to be said about this match. There's one spot we have to talk about because it was probably the best counter on Jacob Fatu. And when he hit that BFE on Fatu out of the moonsault, I'm sorry, that was brilliant. And that was like a wake call. Oh my, LA Knight could actually retain. Like that got people like into it, like drew them in. Could this actually happen? No, it didn't. But still, it really brought everyone's attention right to there.
Honestly, with a beautiful reversal like that, I felt like that it wasn't. That counter would be right up there with any of the RKO counters we've seen Randy Orton hit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that counter, what LA Knight did was friggin', and, Fatu, Jacob, damn, man. The man could climb up to a moonsault like that, and it's flawless for a guy that size to go up and do a moonsault. That is just ridiculous. I mean, good match for two guys that work really well together. I mean, kudos to him of winning the title and bringing another title to the bloodline. I mean, damn, when I saw his father come out and jump over the railing, I'm like, oh shit, LA Knight's gonna get Tonga,
I thought that was Haku.
I was like, wait, man, Haku. Yeah, Haku looks. Yeah, Haku, man. I was like, oh shit, he's gonna just come out and beat LA Knight's ass. I mean, he still looks good for his age. I mean, damn.
It's amazing mask, werewolf mask that he won. Couple facts. Jacob Fatu joins John Cena as the only two men to win the United States Championship in the WrestleMania debut match. But also, unfortunately, I did see news that the build up to this match on Friday Night SmackDown, seeing LA Knight beat up Tama Tonga outside, and him and Solo arrived. That was to write Tonga off because he is injured and might need surgery, so it's hard to tell.
He was my favorite member of the bloodline. I mean, I can
right?
do the impression so good. Here we go. Toma Tonga from University. Oh, what was the next part? Oh, doctorate in.
Yeah, well, the injury bug seems to hit the Gorillas of Destiny anyways.
It's okay. We still know when Hikuleu's going to debut.
Hikuleo is supposed to debut in NXT soon, so it's Lance and NLA, so we'll see what happens with those two guys. What'd you think of? You mentioned the counter there from LA Knight to Jacob Fatu, but what'd you think of the senton on the top rope that Jacob Fatu hit on LA Knight on the top rope, on the top turnbuckle, not coming off the turnbuckle or anything like that? It was on the top turnbuckle.
It was very clever. I enjoyed it. It was savage as fuck.
Yes. I've ever seen before, and definitely was different. Incredible. Nice lead up to the moonsault that, of course, got Jacob Fatu his first singles gold in WWE. So, that brings us to the Luchador match. Before we go into that, what do you guys think of the news that WWE has purchased AAA?
Didn't expect it, but I'm loving it. They got some great talent in AAA. Isn't their world champion Alberto Del Rio?
I seen rumors yesterday and today that he actually has been released from AAA, so I don't know what's going to happen with their world title because last I knew, yes, he was their champion.
But you know who is on AAA?
Yeah, I mean, you guys. Oh,
bro.
We're getting RK Bro back?
I
doubt it. I wasn't sure if Riddle was still working with them or not. I knew he was an MLW. Anyway, you were starting to say, Eddie.
I like that. I like it, and I've been hearing rumors that Jeremy Borash will be the head of it. He's going to be taking control of it, and all that. And
right. It might be turned into NXT Mexico, from what I heard as well.
Yeah, but you got to say how good the tradition of that organization is. You got Rey Mysterio that's been there. Eddie Guerrero started there.
Yep.
I mean, the history goes back for a long time, man, and it's good to see WWE purchasing another organization. I mean, my God, next year will be AEW. I mean, Jesus, we're just gonna keep purchasing every organization.
It's some people complain in social media, but it is what it is. Be with it. Congrats to Kingo, who a year ago was wrestling some as he's part of WWE under WWE's banner. So, of course, sat in the crowd and also got involved a little bit with this luchador, if you will, match. Before we go into the match itself, man, it sucks so much that Rey Mysterio got that groin injury on SmackDown Friday night, making it so he couldn't compete at WrestleMania. I even heard today that they were going to do the old entrance for Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Was the plan? Him jumping out of the stage to start his entrance. Exactly. That's how he was going to make his entrance at WrestleMania on Saturday. But
damn,
we didn't get that because of the groin injury, unfortunately. So Rey Fenix was a good filler, I guess, but I hate that he got his first loss there at WrestleMania to El Grande Americano in the way that it happened. But at least he got a spot on WrestleMania.
Oh, Chad Gable loser?
Yeah.
Gable on Chapel.
I think you guys want to input there about the match.
Chad Gable didn't get unmasked.
Well, I was reading one of the comments. Can't believe it. Chad Gable didn't get a match at WrestleMania. Who the hell are you kidding? I mean, like, are you really that naive to know that Chad Gable is El Grande Americano? I mean, for God's sakes, people, stop. We already know who it is. He's just copying Mr. America, so just stop.
But it's not Chad Gable. It's not. No, it's not. It's Shorty G.
Would have been better to unmask her.
I got nothing to say about this match.
Shall we move on past that match now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. They had some good spots in there, but it was what it was. Speaking of good spots but not great matches, you got Charlotte and Tiffany for the women's championship. Congrats to Tiffy time for
More like Tiffy
honestly.
time.
This match was, yeah, that too. This match to me just fell really flat, in my opinion. There wasn't nothing that stood out in this match, other than the fact that Tiffany got her tooth knocked out.
This match was like botch central. You could do a drinking game with how many botches there were.
Seemed like it, right?
I really don't want to say this, but I am. Do you feel like Charlotte could...
Sorry, Eddie, go ahead.
No, that's all right. Do you feel like Charlotte can compete against these young ones? Because I feel like we know she's been out for a year. You know, she was out since last year. This is her first WrestleMania back. Do you think she can handle the up-and-comers? Because it sure didn't look like it. And there was some stiff punches that were coming from her to Tiffany Stratton. I just feel like,
right,
can she handle being on it? And I'm going to say it. Can she handle being on one of the toughest divisions on SmackDown?
No, I don't think she can. Becky Lynch had a better match against Tiffany Stratton for the NXT Women's Championship than this match was at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think Charlotte was 100%, so the match wasn't what it could have been.
Also, with all the injuries she's had in her career, I don't think Charlotte is the same Charlotte that we have come to hate so much. And you can see it's taking a toll on her. And it sucks because, yes, we hate her, but when she was starting out, she was a hell of a wrestler, hell of an athlete. She could do stuff that not many people could do. And it sucks to see that someone who had that good of a career going is getting caught up with all these injuries and is not that same person. And at the same time, I feel like having to deal with that is also holding back from Tiffany being Tiffy time during that match, because we weren't seeing the best out of Tiffany either, because I felt like she had to carry what Charlotte couldn't do, and it just made it sloppy and botchy.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, Charlotte's supposed to be the veteran of the two, and she didn't look like.
I'm going to go up on Jonathan, what he just said, and I'm going to add something to it. Do you think with Charlotte trimming down her weight, and she trimmed a lot, she's not the same person built-wise, do you feel like she's going to be more injury prone than she was before of it? Because she dropped a lot of weight, and I feel like maybe that's the cause why it wasn't really a good match, because her body's giving out up on her, and I feel, and it showed.
And it's not even the weight loss. It's like she's also losing so much muscle tone. Like, she almost looked to the point of sickly at the Mania match.
It's a shame to see it, and I understand. Like, she had interviews right before Mania. Her marriage this is her third divorce. How can a woman in that mental state, if the guy she loved for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's over, and you're going into one of your biggest matches of your career, which she had it 14 times over. It's a mental thing with her. She's not the same person. There's something up here that is messing up to see the greatness of Charlotte. She ain't her daddy. She can't get married 6 times and still be the greatest of all time. She needs to fix herself. Right. And I feel like she's not.
You might have a good point there.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, hopefully we get bigger and better things for Tiffany going forward, and something different happens with Charlotte. Let's put it that way. Because even if you go back to the match with Rhea Ripley she had 2 years ago, this definitely was nowhere as close to that match. So, that brings us in, of course, to the main event. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, the triple threat match. The best match of this night. Yes, there, but damn, what a shocker at the end. I know everybody except for me picked Seth Rollins to win this match. I'll put it out there. My bad. But it still was shocking to see the way things turned out. Put it that way.
I mean, we did tell you Heyman was going to leave with Seth.
You guys predicted Heyman would. Yes. Well, certain person said that Paul was at least turning on Punk and with Seth, but yeah. But we did get what one person predicted out of it going in when we get to Raw later.
I gotta say, I love the match. Was a little shocked the entrance was a little flat, like didn't have a special entrance for Roman. He just had all the pictures of all his bloodline family, of the family, and Punk got the entire Living Color band, having him out and couldn't even dress. Right. I mean, for the motherfuckers wearing a hoodie. Like, can you dress better for WrestleMania, you bitch? But even the video package was good for Punk. I'm gonna say the match was fucking phenomenal. Good storyline going into it where Paul Heyman's heart was, and I enjoyed that. The turnout, we all knew something was gonna happen. We got one of this, and then we got one of this, like he's washed, like a windshield wiper, and all that. But I gotta say, good match, and I felt like that was the best match of the night for night one.
This match, in my opinion, was so good that it saved the night one card. And
I see many that was the WrestleMania night one match.
And on top of that, you knew it was going to happen. But the way they did it, like, pulled you in, got you out of your seat. And no matter where you were watching, if you were there in person or watching it from home, that whole setup they did, it made you feel like you were in that arena watching that match. And it was just so eye-grabbing and kept you on your toes. It was beautifully done and a great job.
Yes, I agree. You had to wonder if the match was going to be and got in the chokehold on Punk, had the Anaconda Vice locked in a couple different times. It looked like it could have been the finish of it. Of course, the multiple GTSs you've seen, the stomps, the spears. It looked at several different times that each guy could have won this match up until the end when Paul Heyman brought in the chair, and we know what happened from there. The low blows, the chair shot, the stomp, 1, 2, 3. Rollins beats Roman again. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns just are never going to be separated, I swear. But that's a great thing because it stays fresh. No matter which way they do it, we'll get into something else that's kind of similar to it when we get to the Raw after Mania. But definitely, yeah, like we said, that saved the WrestleMania Saturday card. The main event did. It was the only good part of WrestleMania Saturday for the most part. The fact that Seth Rollins even knew about the low blow happening, and Seth never even locked eyes with Paul Heyman. He just took the chair from him and used the chair and hit the stomp. Was great too. I'm interested in seeing how far they go with this, and if this does for Seth what it did for Roman 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the best moment of that match was when you had the GTS on Seth. Then Roman did the spear, and then Seth did the curb stomp. That was the moment I was like, this shit just saved night 1 of WrestleMania. That sequence, you will never see it again, because you had 3, no offense to Punk, Punk does what he has to do. If you didn't put these 3 men together, I don't think we would have had the greatest night 1 that we had if these 3 didn't save night 1. If somebody says to you, "Oh, the other matches are good," no, they were shit. They were shit. Let's just put it right then and there. No offense to Jay, happy that he won, but his cousin Seth and Punk saved night 1 of WrestleMania, because I don't think it would have did what it had to.
Right. All right. I have not 2 of WrestleMania, unless you guys wanted to put anything else out there for Saturday. Okay. WrestleMania Sunday, WWE, Bianca Belair coming out with the girls, of course, as part of her entrance. But one of the girls this time was her stepdaughter, Montez Ford's daughter, which was an interesting little tidbit there. Nice little dances. You got Rhea Bloody Ripley coming out with a skeleton hand face mask type of thing on her face. So the Io Sky just making a regular entrance with the Women's World Championship. I said it to you guys, I believe, in our group chat. I'll state it again here while we're talking about this. This was the match of the weekend, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was. It was the best match. It was the best match of the weekend.
You didn't stay up
I
for us yet.
Yeah, I gotta say it was the best match of the weekend. These three ladies put a show on, and I gotta give a shout out to the world champion. EO, she's doing what she had to. Rena, mommy's always on top of everything, and Bianca, same thing, man. I mean, what a showing from these 3 ladies. They basically did what they had to do.
So, John, you mentioned it.
My only issue
in a group chat, you got to mention what that did for Bianca when it comes to WrestleMania. But go ahead with what you're going to say first.
So yes, so my only issue is, will you stop bothering me right now? Go up there. So my only issue with the whole thing was, if you were gonna have EO pin Bianca, which they did, why add Rhea Ripley? The moment you add Rhea Ripley, you have a feeling, oh, EO's gonna retain, and they're gonna make it so EO pins Rhea, and that way Bianca is still unpinnable. Doesn't get pinned, doesn't get cemented in Mania. Nope, screw that. We're gonna add Rhea Ripley anyways, and EO's still gonna pin Bianca. So now Bianca can no longer run her mouth, be like, I've never been pinned or submitted at Mania. Bitch, now you have, so go fuck yourself.
Well, that's one way to put it. The only thing Bianca can say is she's still undefeated in singles matches at WrestleMania, but
yeah, because her only 2 losses were a Battle Royal and the Triple Threat.
Exactly. But we talk about the match. A couple things you got to bring up. I mean, the hair whip coming into play as it does at every year's WrestleMania. I'm kind of surprised she did it to Rhea. Rhea was the one that pulled on the braid at one point early on in the match. But the way she covered her and Io hitting the moonsault on both of them, pinning Bianca Belair. They all got their finishers in. Great match. Like I said, there's so many highlights from that match. You can't name them all in one spot. If you haven't watched that from WrestleMania Sunday, go out of your way, find it, watch it, because it's well worth it.
Oh, and who got that one right?
Yeah, you know, Johnny.
Even I knew who was going to win that one.
Yeah, not your girl.
Nope.
So that brings us to the Sin City Street Fight, as you got Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Match, and I don't know if you guys will agree with me or not, but I feel like we weren't expecting the match we got here. And I think that Drew and Priest had a great match in this Sin City Street Fight. Blew out of anything I thought that was going to come out of this. Way better than what I thought it would be.
He's still bored at work, though.
But he's still fucking bored at work. But it's fucking fantastic.
That's true. Yes. Yeah, and show the picture.
There's nothing like a nice WrestleMania match that pins the state of New York against the country of Scotland, and the right person won with the right heritage. It was fucking fantastic.
Ready?
You can't see him. Does he have a problem?
Got some pastrami stuck in your mouth, bud? Fucking haggis.
I could have. I didn't watch this match due to my router going out for 15 minutes. So yeah, I'm not gonna say it when I really want to say. So yeah, okay.
So thought it was beautiful then for you. You didn't have to see it.
So, yeah. Like I said, it outdid the expectations going into the match. Go ahead,
I will say this. I'm so proud of you, Eddie, for finally learning not to put your money on Damian Priest. Because the last two competitions before this one, it was the deciding factor to fuck you over losing to Tony. So I'm proud of you for learning.
It's true.
I'm gonna admit to everybody on right now, I'm boiling. I am boiling right now. It shows in my face that I'm boiling and trying to keep a civilized manner right here, because and Johnny, I love you, so right back at you, my brother. Yeah, so now let's move on to the next one. May God bless you.
Love the Claymore to the head of Priest, sandwich up against the chair in between the ring, in between the turnbuckle pads. So at the finish, that was a great finish. But yes, we will move past. That brings us to the Fatal 4-Way Intercontinental Championship match. We all knew who was going to walk out with the Intercontinental Championship, and we were right. He did. Dirty Dom walked out with the Intercontinental Championship, so he made history as he and Ray are the first father and son duo to walk out of WrestleMania with the Intercontinental Championship. Another really good match this Fatal 4-Way was. It wasn't as good as the two matches before it, but it still was a really good match. Finn Balor, though, if I'm Finn Balor, I am pissed. Hit that coup de grace on Breaker, and he had that match won if it wasn't for Dom hitting that frog splash and Finn 1, 2, 3 to end this match.
I love WWE.
Well,
but they dropped the ball on Penta. I'm sorry. Penta was done dirty in that match. But other than that, the best part of that match besides the win has got to be Braun Breaker spearing Carlito from the other table through the table. I'm sorry.
He killed Carlito again. Poor
I
Carlito.
think, gentlemen, I think right now we should have another moment of silence for Carlito. He will be missed.
Hold on, I gotta get an apple.
I mean, yeah. He will be missed. I mean, that man took... I don't know how he still stands up on Monday. But for God's sakes, man, he takes them spears.
Right?
And them new tables don't look like they don't...
The only apples we got.
Them tables... And I'm going to say this. I feel like them tables are even harder than the original one.
Yeah.
My God, when he took it, I felt like Carlito was going to bounce up and hit the roof. Because that thing looked hard.
Right. The only good thing... Yeah. The only good thing I'll say about those new tables is you can tell they're not made out of fully wood like the old ones were. So it doesn't look like parts of a wood is going to go up into you like it was with the old tables.
Aren't they partially fiberglass?
Yeah. The tops, I believe, are supposed to be fiberglass, the main part of it. But yeah, that was the first time we seen those tables get destroyed was both nights at WrestleMania. Those new tables.
Yeah, I wonder who's paying for the TVs.
But yeah, like a cat, I swear he's got 9 lives because he got killed and he was right back on Raw again the next.
Well, I mean, he is like a cat. He's the bitch of the Judgment Day.
We'll have more to say about breaker a little bit. It'll be interesting.
Oh, but if I wanted to go out and do something, he can think. Okay.
That brings us to
What's your voice?
once we go past that fatal 4-way match, brings us to the open challenge match. The Eddie's kind of frozen up there now on my end, so I don't know if I'm fully. You're hearing me fully, but
No, I'm good.
yeah, lost again. Up and down, yeah, I know you guys have got me up and down.
Your child.
Which one? Come in.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
It's one of
good.
those old Verizon wireless commercials.
So at the end of the fatal, that was a fatal 4-way match, and then that brings us into the open challenge match. Randy Orton, and then we all thought, we all predicted several other people, but I don't think any of us or anybody else had any idea of who the opponent actually ended up being, or anybody would have guessed it.
John's face
Because
was amazing.
We get a silhouette first, and then I believe in Joe Hendry. The music for as the TNA World Champion. And I'm going to reiterate that the TNA World Heavyweight Champion had a match at WrestleMania. And not against any slum either. It was against the Viper, Randy Orton. Handpicked, might I add, by Randy Orton.
Well, it's funny that none of us said it, because there's an interview they did back with Joe Hendry when WWE and NXT first started having these where they were sharing talent, and his exact words was, it give me an opportunity to have my dream match. Who's your dream match against? Randy Orton. Why didn't we think of that? I mean,
True.
but can we also point the best part of the entire match was when Randy Orton trolled the crap out of Joe Hendry at the end of it?
After the match, yeah. That was great. It was a short match. At least Joe got some in it, and it does bring a lot of eyes to TNA's product as well. So, and also gave you another moment for an RKO moment, anyways, too. So,
Where he spun right into it.
Yep. Eddie, you're being awfully quiet. What did you think of this whole situation?
Well, like you guys say, what a moment just for a company in TNA to have their world champion on the biggest stage of them all at WrestleMania. I mean, that's going to bring a lot of faces to TNA, who by right has always struggled to try to find their identity, and working with WWE is going to help them, and maybe we will see WWE even add talent from AAA to go to TNA and help them out as well. I mean, you have all these wonderful things that's going, and I mean, this is the second time, and like I told you guys through text on Sunday, This is the second time that a company's champion wrestled a top guy in WWE. The last one was Taz when he was at WWE. Went to ECW and took the title off from Mike Awesome and wrestled Triple H the Friday after he won the ECW title.
Thursday, SmackDown was on
when
Thursday.
Triple H was the world champion. Thursday, yes. It was a Thursday, but that's the only time that another company's champion went and competed against a superstar from the WWE. I mean, I know Taz was under contract with WWE, but still, you're giving that other company the exposure that they need, and I love it. Do I wish the match was long? No, because it was just a moment. And I feel like it really showed WWE wants to do more with TNA. And I feel like it's going to be a great time coming for TNA to add more exposure to them because they really need it.
I mean, the reaction that it got is off the charts because you had 60,000+ people that were all singing Joe Hendry's song to him at WrestleMania. He's never had 60,000+ people singing his song in one time.
No.
That just tells you how over the talent is and his song is too, for that matter, and how identifiable the theme song that he has is as well. Which is something that a lot of superstars in WWE lack these days, to be honest.
There's only a few that gets their song synced to them. You know, like Randy does, Joe Henry.
Yep, and Cody.
Cody does. You know, Seth. You know, it's not a lot of people.
Sure. But yeah, I seen people that were complaining about how short the match was. It's like, it wasn't about the match. It was about the moment and getting TNA a little bit of exposure on WrestleMania. And WWE has done so much more. WWE has done so much more for TNA in this partnership than AEW ever dreamed of in their short-lived partnership they had with TNA. Let me put that out there.
You're right, because TNA, every time you watch TNA and AEW, it always felt like any guy that wrestled somebody from AEW, it wasn't a short-lived, like you have Kenny Omega becoming the TNA world champion.
Right.
They already had the title. You know, WWE is exposing the good side of TNA. They got some great talent there. I mean, yeah, half of them are former WWE guys, but the ones that never been to the big time, they are getting exposed. And I'm going to say this, there's two guys who are former TNA guys who should have went to WWE.
Two of them are the right way and two of them are wrong. I pulled the job.
Good luck to your good luck to your career, because Speedball and Josh Alexander, you ain't gonna get what you think with TNA. You're gonna get lowballed and be forgotten about at the end of the year.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can already see that with Josh Alexander. I mean, they throw him into the pointless Don Callis family right away, so, and had him lose his first match.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I know we're gonna go past the 8:00 hour. That show will be starting in here in about 10 minutes, but good for them. Don't care. This is better than that anyway. Brings us to, not to harp on that, but that brings us to a former TNA superstar, of course, one of the greatest TNA superstars of all time, the phenomenal AJ Styles and Logan Paul, the match that those two guys had. Pretty good match these two had. The finish, huge fan of, but it was what it was. Let's put it that way. Logan Paul got another victory as predicted by a couple people in here. And we'll see where things go from there. But it was nice to see Karrion Kross on WrestleMania, even though it wasn't for very long. What did you guys think of the match itself between Kross and Styles, or Paul and Styles, rather?
Typical Logan Paul match. Wasn't anything really too special about it. Which sucks because AJ is phenomenal. And I feel like it could have been a lot better, but they just did it to Logan Paul's strengths. So typical Logan Paul match.
I kind of agree.
When I was watching Pat McAfee show, The Rock was really happy about Logan's entrance into the match with the drone. He was like, that is so innovative how he did it. And then they showed different camera spots and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that was nothing. I didn't think it was too pizzazz. I'm just thinking it's
right.
What WWE wanted to do. It wasn't that big. I'm not saying Logan Paul is not a great talent. That man learned quick and is showing what he does best. But the finishes of people helping him with grass knuckles needs to stop. I mean, win a match clean.
Yeah.
I mean, stop going into a match. He did, but he punched him in the face with his own hand. But still, do you really need that spot where somebody's coming to help you with grass knuckles? That needs to be taken out of the equation. That needs to be out of the equation. If you really want to punch somebody, hit him with one of your prime bottles.
True. Not going to show it on the screen because it's you. Daryl in the comment section says, show him what an apple looks like, Eddie.
Trina ate it.
Yeah, they need to get that goof. What Jeff, I think is his name, is what they said. Yeah, screen. We don't need to see him every time Logan Paul match coming out there with Bryce. I agree with that.
He must have ran.
To be honest, I thought it was a comic that did the WrestleMania roast. I thought that was him. I'm like, what the hell is he doing to try to help Logan Paul?
No, it wasn't.
So the noise you were was slamming against the door.
All right.
So
move on past that. The next match was, of course, the women's tag team title match. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Lyra Valkyria and her mystery partner because of Bayley getting taken out at Saturday during the day.
I put him the right way this time.
Man, it sucks that Bayley got her spot taken away from her. I mean, she knew about it. It sounds like a couple weeks ahead of time, but feels so bad for Bayley. Like I said, her and Roxanne should have had the match that was originally planned at one point, instead of going this whole route. I mean, the woman, Bayley herself won the women's championship at WrestleMania last year. She's done so much for the women's division, I feel like, over the last few years. She just deserves so much better than what she got WrestleMania-wise this year. Before we go into the match itself.
I think she knows that. She's happy that.
She deserved better last year, too, for that matter. We all know I agree with that.
I think she's going to be heading to TNA.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors about that myself, that Mercedes wants her there, and I don't want to see her go, but if she's not getting the appreciation that what she has done for this division, maybe you should go to TNA. I know it's not going to be glamorous like WWE, but they need to do more with her, and just to take her out of WrestleMania because you wanted the big surprise, I didn't like it one bit.
Yeah. Me neither. It was nice to see Becky Lynch make a return after almost a year out, but again, like I said, Bayley didn't deserve what she got to her. Okay match that the four ladies had for the tag team titles. Everybody figured, or most of us figured, Lyra and Becky would walk out with the titles, which they did. We'll get more into that situation when we get to the Raw after Mania, because I got so much to say on the whole situation with that. What do you guys want to say about that before we move on to the WrestleMania Sunday main event?
So close to a perfect night too. Fucking Becky had to come back and ruin it.
I never thought I'd hear you say that. Mister, I used to love Becky Lynch.
That was before. No, well, know what? You just stay over there in Ripley World.
It is very nice in Ripley World.
But it's great in the car world too.
At least I can understand what my chick is saying. Welcome to the daily arguments in this household.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
It'll be a worse one tomorrow night.
Oh,
Especially if the Bears take a certain running back, I'll be pissed. I hope the Raiders take him so my dad can rub it in her face. Well, neither of us got anything going on hockey professionally right now.
True.
And I don't think we've played the Cubs yet, so you can't deal with that either. Yeah.
So anywho, Becky did come in, get her win with the manhandle slam, getting a little revenge on Liv from last year. Brings us to the main event, Cena and Cody for the Undisputed WWE Championship. It was up until the ending of it when Travis Scott had to get involved, and then everything went to shit.
Yeah.
You say that for WrestleMania Saturday, the main event saved it, whereas for WrestleMania Sunday, the undercard kind of saved WrestleMania Sunday's main event.
That opening match, like, set the bar so high that it didn't matter what the other match was going to be like. They were set. That opening match should have been the main event of Sunday night.
Thank you.
You know who said that it should have main evented? CM Punk.
Even Punk knows what
So,
for.
At least they don't got to worry about the bad ratings. They can't see them anyways.
Right? Yeah, the low blow, the belt shot, the 1, 2, 3, Travis Scott getting involved, it was all just unnecessary, not needed. Crappy way to end John Cena's last WrestleMania match, in my opinion.
We did skip
And no
over
Rock,
something
for that
very
matter.
important.
Yeah, we'll get to that because I have, unless you're thinking of something else.
No, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. But we all knew John Cena was going to walk out as 17, the main thing out of that match. And he made history. He did beat Cody. He is 17 times. Eddie, anything you want to say about that match before I jump go on to that Stone Cold moment that John's referring to?
Nah, I was waiting for the Stone Cold moment as well.
Because it was better than that. So I got to bring it up since you guys mentioned it, and everybody probably is wondering, well, what to talk about. Stone Cold came out on the ATV to come out and announce the attendance record like Sean had done the night before. He crashed the ATV into the barricade, and some fan in the front row, lady in the front row, went down. From what I understand, I didn't catch it live, but she went down kind of in dramatic fashion, if you will. To the point that Nick Khan ended up going over there and was checking on her to see if she was all right from it. But it still was nice to see Stone Cold come out on the ATV again and get a little moment in the spotlight at WrestleMania.
What the fuck?
What's that?
Are they going back to the WCW moments?
What?
Fucking Master P is on AEW.
Why the hell are you watching that garbage? This is more important.
Who is?
Master P. Holy shit. Alright, I'm watching the Cubs game.
This one over here.
Anyway.
You said you're going to watch the Cubs again? Julie goes, good choice.
Well, my Yankees already won today, so I watch more baseball. You know.
Tigers did too.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to that Stone Cold moment. Anything you guys want?
Well, I was watching it back. It looks like when he hit the barricade, the girl was staring at him while he was hitting the guardrail, staring, and all of a sudden, she drops down.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, did she actually get hit? Or when she saw Steve was looking at the live crowd that she dropped down? Because it looks like there's some video of her that she wasn't even hurt, that she actually sit down and then she said she got hit. It's a little fuzzy about that because it happened so quick, but there's videos out there that looks like she really didn't even get hurt.
No, I think she was more complaining.
There's always going to be that one bitch in Vegas.
That's true. I'm sure.
All right.
Well, we'll see if anything comes out of that, if she tries to sue him for anything or not. But I know what people are saying online could potentially happen. But we shall see.
I'm sure they
So
have
all in
some
all,
sort of waiver to sit there, so I don't think it'll happen.
Probably something like that. All in all, what was your guys' take of WrestleMania 41?
Saturdays, not Sundays, right?
To average it out between the 2 days, I'd probably give it, with being saved by three matches, probably saved the whole weekend. And with that, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
That's fair.
Okay, my thing's gonna be a little harsher. with the couple of matches that we did like, okay, I give this year's WrestleMania a 5 out of 10.
Not bad. Could be worse. I mean, there are worse WrestleManias in my opinion than what this was. 9. oh, but anyway,
WrestleMania,
I'd give probably like a 6
WrestleMania
out
11.
of 10. That too. Before we go on to the night after, Raw after Mania, my last question on Mania wise, did you guys feel like, I've seen some people saying it on social media, do you guys feel like this proved that WrestleMania should go back to one night, or do you think it just was because of the matches that they booked and that it should stay at 2 nights?
Based on the matches they have for this one, it would have been smarter just to have it one night. If they had done the matches better, booked better matches, then yes, keep it at 2 nights. But when you combine it and it only feels like you would have enough to do one show good, then just do one night. Don't overdo it just because you want to give the people more, because it's not all about quantity. You got to have that quality too.
Yeah, I agree with John. Some of the matches were like, okay, this is who's wrestling at WrestleMania. I agree. I feel like, just put better quality matches at WrestleMania. Maybe we'll give you the 2 nights. But if it's going to be the garbage that we had Saturday and Sunday, just go back to the one and just go back to the traditional way when you have 14 matches on one night, and start that shit at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, I I don't like it. I didn't like this year's. Last year was fucking way better than this year's. But yeah, let's see what SummerSlam looks like now. Let's see what SummerSlam's gonna look like now in New York with 2 nights. That's gonna be a shit fest.
Yeah, they gotta, knowing they're doing that for SummerSlam as well, they gotta book that better than what WrestleMania ended up this year. I'm not sure necessarily that it's because of the matches that got put on it or just because of the way those matches turned out for some of it. Some of that personally. It'd be better if they're gonna go back to one night like they could have done this year. I feel like with the cards they ended up with. They need to just put matches on the countdown or kickoff show, whatever you want to call it, again, instead of just doing 3-hour talking for before WrestleMania goes on the air. That's my take.
I mean, look what's coming up down the townpipe with 2 nights. You got SummerSlam. You got the Royal Rumble next year. That will be a 2-night event. I hope they don't start thinking to put Survivor Series as a 2-night event. I mean, I don't know.
It makes you agree with partial. Yeah,
So there.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I was saying it definitely makes you realize the person that asked Triple H a question about 2 live event after Elimination Chamber. 2 nights for all PLEs. That's for sure. One. All right. You gonna work the way I want you to? Maybe. So that brings us to Monday Night Raw, Raw after Mania. So here's the thing we didn't mention. We will mention it during this. John Cena, of course, kicked off the Raw after Mania, coming out to talk about winning the undisputed WWE Championship, making history. He mentions in the promo how the crowd went from booing Cody Rhodes at SmackDown Friday night to Cody turning it around and getting them cheered again, to then Cody Rhodes getting booed at WrestleMania, and then just the mention of the name Cody Rhodes gets booed as well at Raw after Mania, whereas a year ago we were all lifting up Cody Rhodes and cheering for him to finish the story. And to take a word from Daniel Bryan, John Cena pretty much just pointed out the fact that fans, the WWE universe is really fickle when it comes to certain stories and situations. Of course, that John mentioned in that.
It's been like that for years.
True. Very true. An interesting promo, John Cena, of course, mentioning how he's only got, 27 dates left, I think, on the year. And he says that he could just show up and do promos. Yeah. He could just show up and just do promos and doesn't have to wrestle those 27 dates. We know he's going to wrestle at least a handful of dates, but it was interesting how he had the ring announcer come into the ring and make a better introduction for him, mention that he's the last real world champion and all that stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Eddie. You're the historian when it comes to wrestling, even a little bit more than we are. Wasn't Ric Flair the last person to call himself the last real champion when he came into WWE as WCW champion at that point, technically?
Yes, it was when he had the big gold belt. Bobby the Brain Heenan said to the world, the real world's champion, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, that at the time President Jack Tunney had to blur out the world title, which, by the way, by then, when they blurred it out, it was Ric Flair already returned back the World Heavyweight title to WCW, and then it became the international title, and then it was the World Championship, not even under WCW. And then Ric Flair was holding, and I can remember this at Madison Square Garden. Ric Flair was holding one half of the WWF Tag Team Championship belt. It was actually one half of the tag team titles that Ric Flair wore to the ring and put it up, and it was actually not blurred doing a live event, but on TV, it was the World Tag Team Championships, one half of the World Tag Team Championship that Ric Flair was given to by Vince and back then Jack Tunney. Yeah, Ric Flair was the real world champion back in 1991.
Yeah. So interesting that John Cena is referring to himself as that now after he broke Ric Flair's record. That's my whole take on it.
Yeah.
Of course, the biggest thing that came out of this whole segment was John's, the end of it, was ready to let people take a photo of championship that he said he's going to be taking home, and nobody around, of course, saying shit just as he gets KO. We haven't seen this match in several years, but we've never seen it in this situation. We've never seen heel Cena versus face Randy Orton. What was your guys' take on the whole opening segment there?
It's really true. And John Cena, well, first of all, congratulations to John for being the 17th time World Heavyweight Champion, passing the great Ric Flair. Great promo, telling people how many more dates he has, and going from there. It's going to be a great run. I feel like they're running back the clock of all the greatest matches of Cena's 25-year career. Starting off with Randy Orton, it's going to be a different because Orton was the heel, John was the face. It's going to be different, but we're going to have so much fun for John Cena's last months in the company.
Exactly.
I didn't see an RKO on Cena.
Months left.
All I saw was Randy Orton look at a floating title.
You can't see me.
I didn't see.
He hasn't said that, but anymore. But still, I will say, I think it's interesting how Cena has changed. He hasn't changed his theme song or his look, but I enjoyed the change to his entrance, to going to black and white and not having the colorful trons anymore, and kind of just having black all around as well. So, nice little touch there from Cena. Match of the night on Raw after Mania, which was, of course, the rematch from the night before, as Liv and Raquel got their rematch against Becky and Lyra. Yeah, your girl got back her gold. Liv and Raquel win back the tag team titles. Liv pins Lyra after a decent match, to lead to Becky turning heel and beating up Lyra Valkyria. Buddy Jason at work about this yesterday. It's like, what the hell was the point in having Becky and Lyra win just to drop it the next night and have Becky turn heel? It's like Becky wants this heel version to be her actual character, and that's what she did after she came back from injury last time as well. She wanted to be a heel right away. But the fans don't want to boo Becky Lynch, I feel like. So I don't understand the whole wanting to turn heel right away again. Maybe that's just on me. I just thought the whole thing was pointless, the 2 nights, to go just with that.
It's a heel household now.
That is true.
Like you said, Tony, your friend has put a title on Lyra and Becky if you're just going to turn around and give the titles back to Liv and Raquel. And I know John's going to have this big smile when I'm going to say it. We know that Liv and Raquel are now 4-time tag team champions.
Unfortunately.
Keep the titles on something that was working good.
Yeah.
You don't need to put a title on Becky when Becky's going to be the new Intercontinental Champion by some crook. We already know that. But I'm happy for Liv. Now the Judgment Day has more titles Finn Balor's going to bitch about. what's the point of taking titles off of? I gotta say, and I know John's on this. Liv Morgan for the past year has been one of the greatest women's wrestlers for that company. 1 year she was a world heavyweight champion. You know, she was a crown jewel women's champion, and then she won the tag team championship. The woman bust her ass to get what she was, and then she loses that WrestleMania and then wins on Raw. Made no sense, but they got the titles back, and I think they had it was an okay match, but at least they got back their gold.
But in my opinion, if they're going to just have Becky turn heel anyways, they should have just had Becky turn on Lyra at WrestleMania instead of hot-shotting the tag titles that are already a joke as it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with that.
Anything else you want to add to that conversation, John, before I move on to the next newsworthy note from Raw after Mania?
About the match itself, no. About what Eddie said, yes. I actually disagree. I don't think she is had been in the top 5 wrestler for the year that people think she is. Yes, she's gone by. She couldn't do stuff herself. She's gone by with help from her so-called friends. And she couldn't retain a title or even win it without Dom, which is not saying much because Dom sucks, you know. But I feel like the Liv that we need to see is that Liv that was the way Liv was back in what year did Rhea win the Rumble? 2022? Was that when Rhea won, or is it 2021? What year did Rhea win the Rumble?
I think it was 22.
That's the Liv we need 22. To see. If that Liv was the one that took the title and ran for the year, it would have been a totally different story. Because that Liv didn't need nobody to help her bitch ass win shit.
That's true.
And I know you weren't expecting that out of my mouth, Eddie.
No, I didn't. You know, I just think she did. I mean, she held her own. The reason why I said I think Liv had a good year last year, and I understand all the cheating part, but when you don't have the major opponents that she went through, you know, because if you look at it, Rena was hurt for a couple of months. Becky was nowhere to be found, and a division that she had to be in that was lackluster without their 2 major stars. That's when you give somebody their props, because who else is on the Raw roster that can handle having a match with her? There weren't that many people, you know, and that's why I feel like she proved herself that she could go with the best, and she did.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, but like ever since her and Raquel have taken over the tag titles, I feel like I'm watching the Riot Squad all over again.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
All right. Fair enough. Points made. That brings us to the next newsworthy moment. The New Day come out to discuss winning the tag team titles yet again, only to get interrupted by the Alpha Academy. Maxine mentioning how the last time the Alpha Academy went against the New Day, Alpha Academy won in under a minute. So they wanted a World Tag Team title match. So it looks like we're getting a World Tag Team title match after Kofi agrees to it. But instead, the lights go out. We get some new music, and Rusev makes his return to absolutely demolish both Akira Tozawa and Otis as the New Day run away, pretty much. Good to see Rusev back. I feel like this was the wrong spot, though, for Rusev to make his return.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't understand why you have him come and interfere a tag team match. You could have did somewhere else in the card, and I just feel like it's good to see him back. He's looking phenomenal. His ring shape is nice. I hope they do more with him, and make him that monster that he should be. But yeah, who knows what's gonna happen with him.
Man, it
Right.
must be nice.
John, you're over there shaking your
It
head.
must be nice to go from AEW, where no one really cared you were there, to come back to a place where you could be a potential star, and all you do is come back and beat the crap out of jobbers. Good job, Rusev. You made it in the world. He took out my boy Otis. I'm not happy about it.
Now I'll tell you where I felt like he should have made his return, and when we get to it, but it's still nice.
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say.
To see
I
him.
agree.
We'll get there. They had the Judgment Day talk backstage with Finn finally showing up, mentioning how Dom defends the Intercontinental title against Penta, which we'll get into that match in a little bit. And then we get the Genius of the Sky, Io Sky, coming out to celebrate her victory as retaining the Women's World Championship. She gets interrupted by the NXT Women's Champion, Stephanie Vaquer, which leads to a champion versus champion match. Great match. Unfortunately, we didn't get a finish to it because of Roxanne Perez and then Julia, but it was a great match for what it was up until the ending. You get more of the unexpected on the Raw after Mania.
Well,
what do you guys think of that whole situation?
I actually love the match. The finish sucked. But we do have to give it up to WWE for giving Roxanne Perez the Miss Elizabeth shorts from WrestleMania 7.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand she like paying homage to one, but seeing Julia there too, man, I'm hoping that these girls, and I'm talking about your girl Stephanie too, John. I hope they come up to the main roster. Because it's gonna be it between her, Roxanne, and Stephanie, and oh my God, that Raw roster will be fucking stacked with them three ladies.
It would be. SmackDown roster wouldn't get a chance.
Yeah.
Okay, John. Dear girl, what did you think of the whole match and everything that transpired?
The match was good. Because, I mean, Stephanie looked amazing. However, that fucking butterface little piece of shit needs to take her pop rocking motherfucking ass back to NXT and stay the fuck away from a real women's champion.
Oh, please.
She couldn't even stay in her own match for WrestleMania week anyways. Oh, I'm just going to leave Cora there to get fucking eliminated by Dolan and Paxley. Hey, I'm a real wrestler. Woo!
She still gave for the title. So.
But we're not talking about that. We're still on Monday Night Raw.
Yes, but still.
That didn't happen yet. You're jumping ahead.
Okay, continue.
Now, Julia. Brings me to Julia. I can't really say anything bad because that's one badass bitch. And I feel like the reason why they took the title off her to begin with was, I mean, it was understandable, but it was stupid. And if anyone should have won the match of Stand and Deliver, it should have been Julie getting the title back. But I feel like either way, doesn't matter what she's on, if she goes to the main roster in the draft or stays in NXT, she's going to be hell to mess with, and she's going to beat the living crap out of anyone that put in her way. But at least just let this once-in-a-lifetime match currently of the Core and Sky happen. Let us watch the magic of the Genius of the Sky and the badass spinal tapping booty of Stephanie Picard do action.
We'll get time down the line. That was a good thing Booker T wasn't there to have heart failure, as Michael Cole mentioned.
Duggy, quack, quack.
Yes. So that brings us to the celebration for the World Heavyweight Champion main event, Jey Uso. Interesting celebration to start with Jay giving his props to everybody, talking about the match and everything. Of course, he's got to do the once over, have to have his music play again so he can eat more with the crowd as they chant one more time, which is always great to see. Good to see Sami Zayn return, although I thought for sure he was going to turn on Jey Uso when Jay was up on the ropes and you see Sami back behind him. Thought for sure that was where he was going to turn, but then Jimmy Uso comes out and we have the celebration between the three, you get the classic bloodline handshake and all that. John, this is where, and you probably were thinking it too, this is where I feel like Rusev should have made his return and should have taken Jey Uso out and then automatic. But this is what I was thinking. He should have returned here.
I was thinking a little bit later on.
Gotcha. You'll have to let me know where exactly you're thinking when we get to it. Well, I thought that Rusev should have returned here, went after Jey Uso, and that would have made him a monster heel and the top contender right away for the World Heavyweight Championship. But in the long run, with the whole Jay, Sammy, and Jimmy, I do feel like Jay is going to get turned on by Sami Zayn and eventually, and it's going to lead to Sammy versus Jay at some point for the world title. What did you guys think that those two guys ended up having?
It was nice. It was heartfelt. But it would have been so much better if Sami Zayn just haluva kicked his ass.
I think so too. It would have been heartbreaking, but it still would have been great.
I think me and you, I think we all thought that Sammy was going to turn right there. And even the crowd was like, oh, and then, they were prepared for it. And no, it didn't happen.
Yeah. It was something I'm sure we're going to see at some point. But
yeah,
With the same concept.
I can do that.
All right.
Or there's the vanilla bing.
Just give me a
move on past that.
Do matter which one.
No, whatever you bring.
Jeez. Interesting take backstage is AJ Styles, of course, was being interviewed, and Karrion Kross comes in there, and the whole situation that's perhaps leading to Killer Kross. Maybe we'll see. Come in.
Love that.
Maybe not. Yes. Great to see Kross getting more spotlight here. And skipping over a few things that didn't really matter. But then you go to the ring general Gunther coming out there and getting in the faces of Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, which of course led to him going after both Cole and McAfee and choking out Pat as This is where you thought Rusev should have returned?
I figured because the way that the security, the way they did it, where security was keeping McAfee's boys back, that would have been the perfect time to hit Rusev's music and Rusev come and save McAfee and set up a Rusev Gunther rivalry.
Yeah, but they want Rusev as a heel, so.
Oh, trust me, Rusev takes out Gunther, he's gonna be a frick. Yeah,
that's where
Gunther ain't gonna be the ring general, he's gonna be the ring bitch.
Right. Damn. But it was interesting to see Pat get a little more involved. Will it lead to a match? We'll have to wait and see between those two. And then you got to see Joe Tessitore on commentary on Raw, which was nice. So got him a little spotlight. Was there anything you guys want to add to that whole situation with Pat getting choked out by Gunther before we move on? That pretty much brings us to the main event match, as you got Dirty Dom versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. You said WWE did Penta wrong at WrestleMania. This was almost worse. He had a good showing during this match, but we got the return of JD McDonough, who pretty much came out and saved Dominic Mysterio in his title reign here, as Dom would retain the Intercontinental Championship after a frog splash after JD had knocked Penta off the ropes at one point. Finn Balor looked very conflicted at points during this match as well. And you can tell he's on his way out of the Judgment Day.
I will say that I was very disappointed that the crowd was not chanting properly. I mean, we got the great return of Lord Farquaad himself. The big-headed bobblehead of the Judgment Day. And him coming back and helping, you could very much tell this is the end of Finn and Judgment Day. His best friend is no longer on his side.
Right. I can kind of see that coming.
But how dare they screw Penta that way, them bitches.
Exactly. That deserve better.
You okay?
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. Penta should have got a more better finish. I mean, he did botch the finish when got off the rope post to hit his spin and he like blocked it, and looks like he was just standing up confused. I mean, that's not Penta's way, but I always felt like when Rena and Damien got kicked out of the Judgment Day, it always felt like it was Dominic's Judgment Day going forward. And I feel like I don't know how you guys feel, or us in a couch. I love you too, buddy.
Oh, showing your IQ.
I feel my IQ's not that. I feel like Finn Balor needs to go back to his demon side. It's time.
Yeah. You need babyface Balor again too. So. All right. So without that to the closing moments of Raw to discuss the WrestleMania main event. Interrupt by CM Punk, who gets taken out by Rollins, only to lead to Paul Heyman. And he's got Paul in line for a spear. But instead, Roman gets hit with a spear. Try that again, shall we? If you hear me now.
No, I can. Oh my God. Johnny, can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, yeah.
Okay, so he was talking about that, after Punk got attacked by Seth and all that. I actually thought the damn segment was over, and then Roman's music hit, and then he comes out and he does what he does best, and then all of a sudden a mystery person comes out in a hoodie, and then it was revealed to be Braun Breaker. I mean, what was your thought about Braun Breaker being aligned with Seth and Paul?
Well, I mean, we've kind of figured that Paul and Braun were going to have some kind of relationship. We've been thinking that for over a year since that one segment where Triple H and Braun are having a conversation and Paul Heyman comes in and just talks about how fantastic of a specimen he is. And so you knew at some point on those two are going to be conjoined. And you didn't expect that they're also going to put Seth with it. And this whole faction starts screaming out to be like some of the greatest factions ever. Are they going with another like evolution angle? Are we talking about another legacy? Are we talking about the alliance, the corporation? It has the potential to, depending on if you go with the right people, to rival some of the best stables that have been in the business.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You said something that was really spot on. Do you feel like because of the man who is behind all this and Paul Heyman, you now have a former world champion in Seth Rollins? You got a former Intercontinental Champion and world champion in NXT and Braun Breaker. Do you see a reformation of Paul Heyman's greatest creation, but in the WWE form, of the Dangerous Alliance? And who do you think will be a part of that? Me, I feel like you got Braun. You got Seth. You gotta put Becky in there because of her husband. Becky a part of the Dangerous Alliance. Who else do you think should be in that form of? If you look at the Dangerous Alliance, who was a part of that group, you had Beautiful Bobby, you had Ravishing Rick Rude, Stunning Steve Austin, you had Arn Anderson, and you had the Crusher, Larry Sabisco. I mean, you had some of the greatest talent in that group against Sting and his troopers, or whatever the fuck he called it back in the day.
Squadron.
Who do you feel like could be? Yeah, who do you think could be in that group combined with Seth and Seth and all that?
It could go many ways. It all depends on what they're trying to recreate. It all depends on what they're trying to recreate. Because if they're going a certain way to kind of make it look like certain past stables, certain people fit that criteria more in certain ways than others do.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I have heard, and I think this is probably the coolest one, is a recreation of a combined D-Generation X. You have Seth Rollins, aka the Shawn Michaels, Braun Breaker, your Triple H. So then you go from there. Becky Lynch, could that be the China of the group? And then you want to look for, you have a high flyer that still can be kind of crazy. Could you split Fraxium up and have Frazier, who's been like a mentee of Seth Rollins in the past, fill that gap? And then you don't need a tag team to be the New Age Outlaws. You can put two people that have history that could work together as a tag team when needed. And I think this is where we get the call-up of Trick Williams and the long-awaited return of the Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov.
Damn, that would be a God, that would be sick as hell. You know, I had another version of myself.
Yeah, it would be.
I had a guy that talks about Paul a lot. I had a Drew McIntyre joining that group. I have Drew McIntyre. I have even a guy that was in the ring with Jey Uso. I have maybe Sammy going into that. That'll be a great fit for Sammy. And if you want to do a sleeper, two sleepers, I gotta put Trick Williams and Elio Dragunov. I like them last two. We don't know what Paul's gonna do.
But the real question is, can you name a really good stable from the past that had two managers in it? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Two managers. If I go back in time, the only one I had two managers, and I know it was short-lived, the New World Order. They had DiBiase and Bischoff.
Now, could you make that same thing again with a male manager and a female manager? I think you know where I'm going with this.
You could.
Because we all assume Becky's going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
What if the other woman isn't really known for her wrestling ability? What if the next two people in this thing are Karrion Kross and Scarlett?
Shit, that will be that will skyrocket Karrion Kross and Scarlett to the next level.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would.
I mean, there's so much potential you could do. It's just like, what are you trying to bring back? Are you bringing some kind of nostalgia with it, where you got to have certain people to fill roles? Or are you just trying to make this new powerhouse faction that you still get bits and pieces from other of the best stables in the past, but still make it your own? It all depends on what you're doing and who you choose to use to do this.
And who's to say necessarily that they're going with more than what we've got now either, though?
Right.
I mean, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker together is a badass duo in itself. And they could run roughshod over everybody pretty much. I mean, look at the way they took out Punk and Roman. Those are two of your top baby faces in the company right now. So that says something right there. I'm not saying it'd be bad to add more to it. I'm just saying, who's to say that's the idea or the plan?
Well, one of my friends from work said this. Paul said that they were going to ride from 41 all the way to 42. And the grouping he has included Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Becky, of course, the two we have already. And you're going to love this one, Tony. Mello.
That would be interesting.
You have 6 people. 4 guys, 2 women. You're talking about a build to a huge WrestleMania match, right? We're all 95% sure Bliss is going to be with the Wyatts. 2 girls, 4 guys. 2 girls, 4 guys. Could this lead to if this is to happen, could this lead to a huge thing where you have, I'm going to call it the Heyman family versus the Wyatts, the 2 families meeting? Could that be a huge WrestleMania moment? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm. And I do agree with you with...
That's interesting.
I do agree with you with Carmelo Hayes because he should not be with The Miz. I mean...
No, it's a
hands down,
miscatastrophe.
he should be doing his own shit. Yeah, it is. It's crap. I think he deserves better, and hopefully, if they are planning a draft, he needs to go to Monday Night Raw. And Paul Heyman is a genius of putting shit together. He's like a J.J. Dillon. The man was that way with the Horsemen. I mean, that's where I see Paul Heyman, man. Paul Heyman knows what he's doing. And now that Braun is working with Paul, shit, man, just strap a rocket to Braun Breaker. That motherfucker's gonna see matches that he never seen before.
I agree with you on that. Be interesting to see how it goes where it goes from here, anyways. But endless possibilities. Let's put it that way. And again, like I said, at the end of WrestleMania, will this do for Seth Rollins what Paul Heyman did for Roman Reigns back in 2020? This potentially could do something along those lines.
I can play for good.
So overall, final take on Raw after WrestleMania this year.
I'm going to be honest. I was expecting a little more. I feel like ever since they went to Netflix, we expected you're going to get your 3 hours, maybe a little more or less. But there's times where we only get 2.5, and it leaves you wondering what could happen and all that. And I feel like this is one of those moments where don't get me wrong, we got a lot of stuff. But I feel like you expect so much more on this Raw because it's the Raw after the biggest show. All the fun stuff happens here. You get debuts, returns. And I feel like compared to what we expect from this Raw, it was almost, I hate to say it about this Raw, but almost a little lackluster than some of the past after Mania.
See, I'm going to disagree with you on that because I thought it was much better than last year's Raw after Mania, especially.
Oh, that's because last year sucked.
The last couple of years really did. Because if you look back 2 years ago, Vince McMahon tore up the script pretty much and rewrote damn near the entire show, and it was this was after Mania in at least 3 or 4 years.
I actually agree with both of you. I feel like, okay, the matches were The matches were good, you know, the ones that they had, you know, especially that women's match with Io and Stephanie. That was fucking awesome. And then, you know, seeing some returns, but I always wanted that punch in the mouth moment the day after WrestleMania. I always want that punch in the mouth because, like John said, some WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania always got that punch in the mouth. You had that blockbuster that blew the roof off of the arena. It didn't have that. I mean, you're banking on Rusev to be your punch in the mouth. Rusev is going back to a mid-carder. You needed somebody, and I said this to you guys before. Stephanie and Julia and Roxanne, yeah, they're great. But you could have added another person like an outsider. What would have happened if Saraya would have returned back? She would have outshined Rusev because Rusev's a mid-carder. People understand. People knew he was coming back, but you could have done more. And I felt like they didn't deliver on some of the good spots. You know, you had their guys, but Rusev is not the answer. You could have put somebody else.
And I mean, no disrespect to Rusev, but I'm probably gonna get heat for this one from both of you. But I would have rather just like it goes silent, and all of a sudden you hear, woo woo woo. You know it. That would have got a huge pop. Don't look at me like that. You know it would have got a huge pop. People didn't want him that back for how many years? And now with the TNA and WWE working together, it's probably the best chance we're gonna get.
So hear me out. The woo 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 is what I laugh about, not because of the guy, just knowing the fact if he comes back ever, he's not coming out to woo woo woo. There is no Zack Ryder anymore. He's said that in interviews. It's gonna be Matt Cardona.
Well,
so you're not gonna hear no woo woo woo. You know it when he comes back.
That's true, but that's not gonna stop the WWE universe from letting him know what he's known for.
Good point there too. But if you bring him back as Matt Cardona, the indie god that he's become, if you will, it's got to be in a big spot, and you got to push him as a big heel or a big baby face. He's made a name for himself in the indies.
Yes.
He deserves a tire push, I would say, kind of, if he comes back.
Yeah, I actually do like that idea, but I feel like it would be more like on a SmackDown side because his wife is on the show and she's the United States champion. You know,
right.
But Friday's coming up pretty soon. You know, who's gonna know what we're gonna get with who that debut is, and we all know who it might be.
I think we might fade
but,
to black.
You know, we could be wrong around.
Because I think we'll all be fading to black when it comes to SmackDown Friday night. So.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be one of the many many surprises, if you will, on SmackDown. But from what I've heard, there's supposed to be other big spots on SmackDown as well. They're trying to build up this upcoming SmackDown to be on the same level as Raw after Mania. So we shall see who from NXT might show up, who from the past might show up besides Aleister Black, that we're all pretty sure is going to be on SmackDown Friday night. So then the last question I got for you when it comes to Raw after Mania, I've seen it on, some people say it on social media. Would you say the Raw after Mania was better than at least Saturday's WrestleMania?
Yes.
100 million, thousand, billion, signer math, whatever math. Yes.
What?
Oh, my bad. I did it wrong. There's a 50% chance that Monday Night Raw after Mania is going to beat WrestleMania Saturday night. And there's a 10% chance that I'm right about it. And then there's another 35% chance that no one else can compete without me. So in reality, I got 177% that yes.
Okay, Mr. Steiner. Eddie, what do you think?
Like John said, I thought Monday Night Raw was better than the WrestleMania. Yeah, it was way better. I mean, yeah. I mean, other than the first night. The first night was okay. WrestleMania. The second night was like, oh shit, I gotta watch second night of WrestleMania. But yeah, I agree. I felt like the Raw after WrestleMania was way better than the second night of Mania. So yeah, I agree.
Come on now. All right. There we go. Maybe. Okay. I think this is being goofy over here still. That's all. Then anyways, yeah, I'd agree it was better than Saturday's Mania anyways. Like we said earlier, with SummerSlam coming up being 2 days as well, they got to do something different for 2 nights to get everybody good spots, I guess, for one, and for the crowd to be enjoying both shows instead of just a couple matches or a match per show. But we'll see. That's, of course, SummerSlam is in 3.5 months now, pretty much. We got Backlash in St. Louis in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. We got other shows, of course, between now and then as well that we'll have to wait and see what happens. Money in the Bank coming up in June. Supposedly another women's Evolution premium live event at some point in time. Originally Ali, but now they've revealed Money in the Bank will be. So we'll see if it gets pushed back to July or if we'll even get it. They have announced Survivor Series this year will take place for the first time in a Petco park as well. First outdoor show. They have a dome there, which might be the case. Just call it Survivor Series, though. They didn't put the War Games. I was going to say, I wasn't sure. I've never paid that close attention to Petco.
Yeah. Petco Park don't have a dome.
I didn't think it did, but I wasn't positive. They didn't include the War Games tag to it, so we'll see if War Games gets brought up and involved in Survivor Series this year or not. A lot of things can change between now and November. If not, then they better go back to some traditional Survivor Series elimination matches. But we shall see what happens as we move along this year. Yes, John did win our first of the 3 t-shirt competitions. Had the best record through WrestleMania. And I came trailing behind, not too far either. So only a couple more wins than the rest of us. Jamie did the worst when it comes to just WrestleMania predictions, by the way. He ended up half and half, 7-7. So, but we offered the olive branch to you, mentioned it to you. If Jamie ever wants to come on here for prediction shows or anything else, all he's got to do is let us know. We can let him know, bring him in on it too. So, but thank you guys for coming in here. Any last things you guys want to throw out there before we shut down this show? I get 2 no's. Okay. So we'll be back on here maybe some point next week with some. Oh, yeah, we do have a show we got to do next week because we still got to do our review show for GLWA's show that they had back in March. But we'll look to do that either next Wednesday or Thursday. And then I'll probably take that. I was going to say take that next week off, but they do have Backlash on that Saturday. So we'll see what happens because I won't be here at the house, but we'll still get our prediction show out there some way, shape, or form that week. So we'll keep in contact next week, either Wednesday or Thursday. Probably do Wednesday. We'll do our review show for GLWA. So with that, thank you guys for coming in as always. John and Eddie. Everybody else who's watched and been in the comment section, thank you. We'll catch you guys in the next